This is the Bitcoin 1 month overview reading for the month of November 2023. It's currently September 28th, 2023, 7:52 p.m. Eastern Time. Bitcoin at the time of this reading is currently $27,024.27. That's USD. And the shuffle file for the November reading was created on September 3rd, 2023 at 3:22 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this video right here. All right, so the overall theme and behavior in November is the Valor card, which is bumping along sideways, bumping up against resistance and bumping along it sideways for the most part. Sometimes you break through and then you find the next resistance and you bump along sideways on that. So generally it's bullish. It is crossed though with the Princess of Wands, which is a opportunity in the midst of a rally to open up a short position or close a long position. So that's on the scale of like a year-to-date chart. Behavior around the highest high. There's a rally into key resistance on a multi-day scale, and then from that resistance we break down with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down. Those spikes usually meet moving averages as resistance, and the moving averages are usually in bearish formation. And then behavior around the lowest low, we should see sideways rotation around the low, so sidewaysy behavior near the low as well. So this might end up being a very sidewaysy kind of chart with some big moves in it in the midst of that. And there's multiple places for highs and lows here. So overall pretty mixed. We're gonna get into that in just a second. Before we do that, and the best trades that we see as well as the day-by-day chart behavior, let's take a look and see how we did for September. This looks like a pretty accurate reading, guys. So here on September 1st, we had a low. We have a prominent trough here on the 1st and on the 2nd, and you can see there was like a double trough. And then on the 4th, we had a lot of price movement, allowing for one to position themselves in both directions, and a sharp drop around the 4th. And you can see here on the 4th, one could have positioned themselves with the amount of price change. Here, one could have positioned themselves to the upside at the low, one could position themselves to the downside at the high, and they would have made money the very next day or the day after, and then on the long end, 3 days later. Like, it would have been a really solid trade. And then we have on the 8th a prominent trough. It's very difficult to time it when you have this much kind of sideways behavior. It looks like it's on the 7th. Well, there's one on the 7th as well, and then one on the 8th as well. And technically there is a trough there because we go all the way up and then there's a trough. On the 16th we have a highest high. We pretty much nailed that, and then we have a higher highest high. So this was a highest high thus far on the 16th, 17th, and then a higher high. And not only that, but we had a highest high and then another prominent peak just next to it. And you can see what happened here. We had a prominent peak just next to it. We're just off by a day. And then a higher high here on the 21st, 22nd, and you can see right here on the 21st we had our 19th, 20th instead of the 21st, 22nd, but still pretty darn close, guys. And then we went back into troughs on the 26th, 27th. We have that here for the 26th, 27th troughs, and then a notable reversal on the 29th. Interesting. So there's a peak there, and a lot of times the fortune card will indicate a peak, so we probably have a pretty sharp day on the 29th. This is pretty solid, guys. And this reading, if you're wondering, was created July 4th, 2023 at 6:39 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the power of SMN analysis, my friends. Now let's get into the highs and the lows. So I think the highest probable location of the high for the month, and we probably have it more than once, but if we don't, the most likely location of the highest high is going to be here on the 1st in the midst of a temporary breakout on a multi-day scale. There's opportunity there as well to open up a short position or close a long position, and we'll talk about where to close that short position as we progress through the reading. There's another highest high around the 11th, 12th, possibly another one around the 20th, 21st, but I think those are probably going to, there's a strong possibility of it being a highest high here, but even if it's not, it's going to be a prominent peak or crest, and we sell off from it into what's most likely a lowest low, at least thus far. Lowest low around the 14th, lowest low around the 10th, 11th, and possibly another one around the 17th, 18th, or the 21st, 22nd, but they're less likely. All right, so on the 2nd, we have sideways rotation, a prominent trough on a 1 month scale there early in the day on the 2nd, and then we have sideways rotation along a key support on a multi-day scale. On the 3rd, we have a rally into key resistance on a multi-day scale, probably the resistance that we temporarily broke through on the 1st, but in any case, technicals will lead us to believe that we're going to break through that resistance, and instead it's a disappointment. We turn around and we decline through key support. And this could be here on the cusp of the 3rd, 4th after that decline through key support. This is where one might close that short position. If it doesn't work out to close that short position there's another opportunity. On the 4th, we have a prominent move higher, and then a full retracement of that move back down. Decline continues into the 5th and ends towards the end of the day of the 5th with a fast sudden move higher. And then that fast sudden move higher almost is like a pop and drop, because on the 6th, we decline again, revisiting a support level that we recently met before. And this is where we have some probable location of a lowest low here on the 5th, 6th. But even if it's not a lowest low, it's going to be a prominent trough. Trade opportunity at a peak, like around the cusp of the 6th, 7th, another decline or bearish price swings into a trough towards the end of the day on the 7th, and then a lot of price change around the 8th, providing opportunity to position oneself in both directions, it looks like. This is the second location where you could close the short position that was opened on the 1st. First here around the cusp of the 3rd, 4th, possibly on the beginning of the day on the 5th, or the cusp of the 5th, 6th is the second. So if it doesn't work out here on the cusp of the 3rd, 4th, that would be your second opportunity to close out, but I would get out of it before by then. And then on the 8th, we have a opportunity to position oneself in both directions. I'm going to talk about that in more detail in the paid version, as well as what trades I think probably to avoid and any relevant trades that we see from like a multi-month or multi-year standpoint. If you're interested in the paid version, this is the best way to support the channel, that and the rule of karma, where you do so here at the Our Services tab of our website, tarotfortraders.com, under SO Meta Posts. You would scroll down to monthly subscription, click here, and you would click on the BTC subscription. If you're interested in more than one subscription, I highly recommend the 250. It's a steal, guys. Our September readings, the only one we didn't really smoke was the September S&P 500. All of the other ones, really, it seems like we did a really good job of them. And so this is our most popular subscription. Much appreciation to everybody that goes and does that. And as always, make sure to follow that rule of karma, my friends. You do so here on the resources tab. 5% forward, 5% backwards. Spend that 90% out of love, and the universe will send it back to you tenfold for being an angel investor of the channel. I'll see you guys on the next one.